All right, people, the time has finally come. Not only is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom available in certain regions like New Zealand, and it will continue to be released in other regions as the day progresses, but reviews finally dropped. I thought this would happen yesterday, but it looks like it finally just happened just now, and I wanted to click through and just kind of react to these reviews with you all because having beaten the game, I think this game is better than Breath of the Wild in every way, but I thought maybe reviews wouldn't be that positive because it is a direct follow-up. It is kind of, in a way, more of the same, but just based on the very little bit I saw of these tweets that just dropped, reviews for this game are already insane. So I'm literally just on Twitter. I typed in Zelda review. I sorted by latest. We're going to see what we can see here, check out some review scores, and just kind of see what people are saying about this game. We have IGN here. RPG site. IGN's quote on their tweet: "Tears of the Kingdom is an unfathomable follow-up, expanding a world that already felt full beyond expectation and raising the bar even higher into the clouds." So let's check out their review here. Let me move this over for you all. Okay, cool. IGN giving the spoiler warning. I guess same thing here. If there's any spoilers in this video, I apologize. I'm not the one writing these reviews. They gave Breath of the Wild a 10. Story stands out from your typical Zelda plots. I completely agree. And I'm not going to be reading these reviews in depth in this video because that would take forever. I'm mostly here to see the scores, and I know that's a little reductive. I know some people criticize others for that, but that is a good aggregate and kind of just way to see the general vibe of the game. So we'll be reading the headlines and all that kind of stuff in this video. This may be the same map, but it in no way feels repetitive. Yeah, I completely agree with that, 100%. There's a little poll. Any doubt melted into pure joyous amazement when I dove down my first chasm. Absolutely, completely agree with that. From this IGN writer, it's hard to overstate how big this game feels, even in the context of Breath of the Wild. Once again, it's completely accurate. This is all accurate. Shout out to this IGN writer. 100%. In 2017, I played just over 80 hours of Breath of the Wild when I finally decided to beat the final boss, feeling content that I'd done all the side quests, shrine hunting, and other odds and ends that I wanted to do. Not quite all that existed, mind you, but definitely a significant majority and certainly all of what really tempted me. Similarly, I beat Tears' main quest line around the 82-hour mark, but this time I feel like I've barely done half of all the things I want to. I beat it in around 50 hours, and I pretty much was only doing main story stuff, and any shrine that I saw, I didn't do that many side quests, to be completely honest. So there's still a lot to do, but I completely agree. I feel like I've maybe done 5% of the game, you know? So yeah, the weapon fusion just says yes, so whatever you throw at it, yeah, the fuse is really impressive. Although, I said in my video a couple days ago, I actually think fuse is probably the least interesting, if believe it or not. It's still incredible, it's still a technical marvel, but the actual, application of the other abilities is really cool. The building tools walk the line of powerful but approachable extremely well. 100% agree. It's a little hard getting started with Ultra Hand, but once you get used to it, it was a joy to use. It's clear Nintendo was listening to feedback after Breath of the Wild. Yes, they delivered on basically every issue. I think some people might still have an issue with the dungeons in this game in terms of how they're structured, but they are definitely way better than the Divine Beast, the boss battles, the enemy variety. This game fixes so much that Breath of the Wild had wrong. The frame rate still dips sometimes, but I saw essentially no bugs in over 100 hours. Yep, I don't think I saw a single glitch or anything happen in my time. 10 IGN from Tom Marks, a masterpiece. Tears of the Kingdom is an unfathomable follow-up, expanding a world that already felt full beyond expectation and raising the bar even higher into the clouds. So that's cool. Let's check out RPG site here. Just scrolling through. I feel bad. Check out all these reviews, read them, watch the videos if they have a video version. That's a 10 there as well. I got a lot of comments because I made a community post saying like, oh, what do you think the Metacritic score is going to be? And like I said, a lot of people have issue with that. This is the sixth axis here. I've always been of the belief that, like, yes, we need a better system in this industry in terms of getting a general consensus. But unfortunately, Metacritic is the best way right now. That is the best way we have to tell how, and just scores in general, how the community and how the industry feels about a certain game. Yeah, so it's mostly a lot of people saying the same things. This is a direct narrative with a better plot, with better dungeons, with better abilities, and just a bunch of fixes. There's a 9 from Sixth Axis. So that's the lowest score we've seen. Crazy, huh? Here we have Polygon's review. I know some people, well, we're not going to get into like the politics of journalism. A lot of it doesn't matter if you like the website or not. What matters is the content of the review here. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom changes the conversation. Nintendo's colossal sequel gives players more freedom than ever before. For all of its inquisitive mascots and alchemical mixtures of play, Nintendo has governed most of its games with a controlling hand. It's a cool tagline. So yeah, just going over the start of the game and the abilities. That's what most of these reviews are definitely focusing on, is just the abilities. Wow, I didn't even I still haven't done this little guy here. Just diving into the depths. Monster forces. Yeah, really cool stuff here. There are moments where I'm gently reminded that true player freedom is, of course, a fallacy. Nintendo created this world, and I inhabit it. Weeks, months, or years from now, I may affect it in ways its creators didn't intend, but still, I will be using the tools they provided. The brilliance of Tears of the Kingdom lies in how well it imparts the fantasy of player freedom. Sure, Nintendo shakes me out of the daydream every now and then, and in those moments, I see flashes of its old, rigid self, but no matter, at some point, I'll fully escape its watchful gaze. So I guess Polygon doesn't do review scores. At least I'm not seeing it, but definitely okay, Polygon recommends. Yeah. So, definitely a glowing review from Polygon there. Alright, here we have Screen Rants review. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom begins auspiciously. There's a weight to its earliest moments that was absent in the more airy beginning of Breath of the Wild. Yeah, the opening of this game is absolutely incredible. I can speak from experience with that. I'll have a video up, maybe when you're seeing this, of my first hour playing. I'm not sure when that's going to go up, and I have a bunch of videos prepped. But yeah, talking about the story and, you know, how lore experts will question the timeline continuity. But the story in this game is awesome. Gameplay, innovation, and refinements. Just across the board, fantastic stuff. There is people talking about performance, though. Tears of the Kingdom could use an upgraded Switch. Yeah, there's definitely dips. There's one dungeon in particular I talked about that, at least for me, really ran quite poorly, but then I saw people in my comments saying it ran fine for them, so we'll see where does Zelda go from here. Interesting to include that in the review. Our review score and final thoughts. While most complaints about Tears of the Kingdom will largely be seen as small ones, that's just the bar the game sets for itself. It may not be perfect, but it's every bit as absorbing as its predecessor, with a world that feels even more dizzying in its grandeur. Any issues are buried underneath the many things that Tears of the Kingdom does right, and at its core, it's a testament to the appeal of imagination as a game mechanic. Who cares if the game doesn't look like something made in 2023, or if the chasm is a bit too barren when Link is flying a hover car made of scraps he found on the ground? That was a mouthful. Does weapon durability problematically hinder the fun of sticking a Hinox's toenail on a giant metal sphere to make it somehow significantly stronger? If it's time to move on from the Tears of the Kingdom Hyrule that's now spanned 2 games, it hasn't overstayed its welcome. The memories that this game is capable of creating just because of its ambitious systems mean that no two players will ever have the same experience, except that of joy and the excitement that comes with unknown possibilities. Anyone worried that there would be some fatal flaw that came to ruin what seemed to be a can't-miss Switch launch can now rest easy. Tears of the Kingdom is a monumental achievement, and it's going to be talked about relentlessly for years to come, and they give it 5 stars. Yes, Tears of the Kingdom is going to be a talking point for open world game design and just game design in general over the next decade, probably until Nintendo or From Software tops it. You know, those are the 2 to keep an eye on. Let's see some more reviews here. I definitely want to see the Washington Post and their review. Let's see here. Just a couple of review scores. Inverse gave it a 10. CG Magazine gave it a 10. Metro UK a 10. The Viver, never heard of that, 10. And it's from Josh Lloyd here with doing the work here. 98 on OpenCritic with 27 reviews, bro. What? That's crazy. That's higher than Tears of the Kingdom. I'm not sure where it's at on OpenCritic, but on Metacritic it's a 97. Here's more reviews from more mainstream sites. IGN 10, VGC 10, GameSpot 10, comicbook.com 10, Nintendo Life 10, God is a Geek 10, Screen Rant 10, Game Informer 9.75, 10. I'm guessing that's because of performance, probably. Wow, that's these are some insane review scores, guys. Just absolutely insane stuff. All right, so I jumped over to OpenCritic. Right now, it's sitting at a 97, and these scores will of course change over time. But that's with 44 critic reviews, so it's still cataloging a lot, and you know, by the end of the day, we'll know exactly what it settles at. If it's at 97 now, I would expect it to settle around 96 or 97, but that's still incredible. I never expected this game to review as well as Breath of the Wild, just because it is a follow-up. Edwin Evans from Eurogamer said, a terrific Breath of the Wild follow-up with some brilliant new systems, amazing views, and more dungeon-type spaces, plus a slightly deadening emphasis on gathering resources. 4 out of 5 stars. Tom Marks, of course, we already read Games Radar, gave it 4.5 stars out of 5. Tears of the Kingdom sets a standard for immersive gameplay that most major games don't even try to achieve, let alone match. Yeah, for sure. Game Central gave it a 10. An excellent sequel and one of the best Zelda games ever made. A follow-up that builds upon and refines the achievements of the original while adding many new and equally innovative ideas of its own. So, yeah, I mean, it's just across the board, man. People love this game. Game Informer 9.8, nearly every encounter, whether puzzle, traversal, or combat, must be reconsidered. It makes you think in new ways. I didn't get the same goosebumps exploring Hyrule as I did in the past, but I did experience new emotions both on a granular level from solving individual puzzles and on a larger scale by going back to one of my favorite video game locations. They say you can never go home again, but I adored returning to Hyrule with all the new tools. GameSpot 10 out of 10. Tears of the Kingdom is a triumph of open-ended game design that pays homage to the best parts of the Zelda franchise's own storied history and sometimes exceeds them. Yeah, I mean, it's always early to make statements like this. I could see the conversation in 5 years with this game is going to be very interesting of whether or not it's the best Zelda game ever made. It comes down to whether or not you like Breath of the Wild. If that didn't click with you, obviously, your favorite Zelda is going to be A Link to the Past or, Ocarina of Time or Wind Waker or Twilight Princess. But for a lot of us, Breath of the Wild was already one of the best Zelda games, if not the best. I'm not sure if it was my favorite quite next to Wind Waker. It was always a toss-up for me. But this game is certainly going to be in that conversation now, because I do think it is better than Breath of the Wild in just about every way. Destructoid 10 out of 10. I love nearly every minute of Tears of the Kingdom, from zooming up into the sky to spelunking in the depths. There's way more to explore here, and I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface outside of the main story and some key side quests. But the real quick kicker that helps separate Tears from Breath of the Wild is its big swing power set. I felt like I was in control at all times and had the ability to create my own path. For a series known for sequence breaking, that's not just a perk, it's a strong argument why Tears of the Kingdom will be talked about for years on end, and may even top some favorite Zelda lists. Absolutely. VG 24/7, James Billcliffe here. Although it takes place on the same map as Breath of the Wild with a few key changes, owing to the time skip and upheaval, of course, Tears of the Kingdom feels different enough from its predecessor thanks to the new powers and mechanics to stand all on its own. It's a massive open world that feels dense and exciting without getting clogged up with icon fatigue, since so much of the play is based around physics interactions with the core mechanics rather than rigid systems. God is a Geek 10, Adam Cook. Tears of the Kingdom could end up being one of the best games ever made, with unparalleled exploration that offers freedom and creativity on a scale never before seen. They just don't stop. The lowest score we've seen is a 9. I'm sure there's someone out there that gave it an 8 or something, right? But this is crazy. The Guardian here, 5 out of 5 stars. Occasionally a game comes along that makes you look at life in a whole new way. This glorious, hilarious, utterly absorbing Zelda installment is one of them. It just doesn't stop. Can I go? Is there lower scores? Actually, I want to read Nintendo Life here from Lana here from Nintendo Life. It's impossible to talk about everything that makes Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom so incredible, and making many of those discoveries yourselves is part of the magic. It's also impossible to overstate just how much there is to do in Hyrule this time around. Much like its predecessor, this is your playground for the next however many years to come, with a sprinkling of that older Zelda fairy dust mixed into Breath of the Wild's formula. That's what I've been saying too. It feels like the best of both worlds to me. Between old-style Zelda and Breath of the Wild Zelda. It's a glorious, triumphant sequel to one of the best games of all time. Absolute unfiltered bliss to lose yourself in for hundreds of hours. We can't wait to see what the world will do with this game. Very good stuff, 9.5. It looks like we have more scores because it got bumped down here. I want to see, is there any lower scores? Is there a single score under 9? Genuinely, I want to see it. No, not yet. At least not registered on here. Comicbook.com, 5 out of 5 stars. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is a worthy successor to Breath of the Wild and is easily a Game of the Year contender. In addition to making you fall in love with the world of Hyrule all over again, this game feels much more like a traditional Zelda game while retaining all of the charm and beauty of Breath of the Wild. Wow, man. Extremely strong reviews for this game. And now it's at 49 critic reviews and still sitting at a nice little 97 here, as you can see. So this game, we'll have to see what it actually settles at. Let me just check Metacritic real quick and see if it has updated on there. Metacritic normally takes a little bit longer. No. And I think most people use Metacritic in general, so we'll see what it actually settles at. But either way, review scores for this game are absolutely through the roof. I would say better than Breath of the Wild, so it's going to land at a 97, 98, or 96. Somewhere in there. Very strong stuff. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Are you excited to play Tears of the Kingdom? Because depending on what region you're in, you can already do that. So enjoy this beautiful, breathtaking experience. I can't wait for y'all to play it and get your thoughts out there too, because I have been living in like a shelter the past week, trying not to go too crazy because I haven't had anybody to talk to this about. That's why I've been making all these videos, because it's so good. So now we can actually have conversations about it and go forward here. So I'm very excited for you all to play it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing for more Nintendo and Tears of the Kingdom coverage. And when I say Tears of the Kingdom coverage, I do mean that, because I have a lot of videos ready to post now that the game is out or coming out. So stay tuned for that. Follow me on Twitter at BotoxGames, and until next time, folks, peace.